I saw A Different Man, and I really liked it. Sebastian Stan won Best Actor at the Golden Globes for his role in this, and it was also nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling at the 2025 Oscars. Stan was definitely deserving of that award. He was excellent. This also features Adam Pearson, a British actor who I first became aware of in Jonathan Glazer's Under the Skin. Pearson has neurofibromatosis, and it's pretty cool to see him finding work in an industry where looks are kind of everything. That's partly what this movie deals with, too. It involves a struggling actor who has developed a disfigurement of sorts and starts to look for a way out through experimental medical treatment. I noticed some Kafka references, as have others. Bug in the coffee, metamorphosis. It wouldn't be a movie where a character makes a physical transformation without one of these nods, right? One day it'll be overdone, but today is not that day, because I like this movie. Also, as others have said, it is somewhat reminiscent of a Charlie Kaufman movie. It definitely messes around, has its fun, and gets complicated as characters start playing each other, and it's called to question who really gets to say who you are. The whole script is littered with irony. I also love how it can juggle so many different tones and concepts. This will go from serious character drama to pretty funny comedy to downright horror film before just looping back again to the last genre. Spoiler time, I'm about to do that thing I do. Please be warned. Skip here. Now, on the surface, the movie has a straightforward message. It's what's on the inside that counts, right? No matter how much you try to be somebody else, you just can't escape you. The real you slips out eventually. All pretty basic stuff you can get behind, right? But it did lead me to some other questions I wasn't expecting. Like, perhaps identity is less about your own internal thoughts and feelings and more about how others perceive you. In that way, it could be assumed you don't get much of a choice. Does it even really matter what's on the inside if nobody hardly gets to see it? After Guy starts donning the mask of his old face and tries to emulate Oswald's behavior, he's still not received very well. In a world of people just trying to be each other all the time, is it best to just stop the charade and be yourself? How can you be yourself when people don't like who that is? On the flip side, though, you could argue, what use is a life constantly spent trying to change so others like you? What's the point of being validated when you'll never get it by any means? One of Edward's neighbors is a real dick, but he seems to have a decent life on the outside. We see him walking around in the park with a pretty lady, but later you start to think maybe that was an escort or something and he's just having to buy love, because we find out he committed suicide. Also, there's a lot to be said about the concept of understanding. Edward stabs the physical therapist guy towards the end, and it's revealed he still feels deeply for anyone with a disfigurement being disparaged. He understands Oswald's everyday hardships in a way most others won't, and he stands up for him like he wishes others would for himself. Rewind, and he loses his role as Edward in Ingrid's play because he doesn't understand the character. Go even further, and he starts to gain frustration for Ingrid because she does not understand Edward as a character in her own story through her own perspective. The fundamental misunderstanding of people can lead to some fucked up shit. In the end, Oswald and Ingrid, now together, inform Edward that they are joining a cult, maybe indicating that these two aren't as cool and desirable to be around as we thought. Perhaps that was always just how Edward saw them until now. Ingrid isn't some sweet girl next door anymore. She's actually sort of twisted and conceited. She's also somebody who appropriates shit and isn't honest about it either. Oswald isn't some happy-go-lucky extrovert now. He's kind of just annoying. They're both looking like total whack jobs by the end. That final dialogue piece from Oswald along the lines of, "Oh, Edward, you haven't changed a bit," indicates that it's now known that he is Edward and was Edward all along, in spite of all the external changes he experienced. He is the same person he always was. It's a ha-ha punchline and gag after we just went through that whole journey. I don't know, it's hard to talk about this movie without getting wrapped up in how fun the plot is. At the end of the day, this puts the let's walk a mile in each other's shoes thing into practice. There are some plot things that rubbed me the wrong way. The entire second half hinges on Ingrid eavesdropping through the door. She had to find out the news in this exact way because A, if she had seen Edward at some point right away, before he became Guy, then the jig would have been up. and B, not even maybe heard this conversation before Edward had a chance to move out, the rest of the storyline wouldn't have even happened. Also, right before this, it's a good thing the ceiling broke right when Edward was directly underneath it. Sorry, that last one was more of a nitpick. That's it for the spoilers. I definitely wish this was marketed more by A24. It is available to stream right now on HBO Max though, so go see it. It's got all the absurdist, silly, existential shit that's right up my alley, and hopefully is something you enjoy as well. I'll be giving it an 8 out of 10, a fun and interesting ride that I hope to rewatch soon. The director, Aaron Schimberg, could be a name to keep an eye on. Also, if you haven't seen and you want to hear my totally important opinion on music instead of movies, I just dropped a best albums of 2020 list. I'm going to be doing 2021 next. Definitely check these out. They're weird little portals back to a different time. So, all right, bye.